Hello everyone, I'm Stacy and this is the For Bricks and Giggles YouTube channel. Recently I got a bulk lot in, and with that comes a lot of questions about how I sort bulk lots, how I decide to pull sets from them, washing, resale, all kinds of different questions. So today I was going to talk a little bit about my process, and then I think at the end I'll tell you all which sets I found from my most recent bulk lot. I think I am now done pulling sets from that lot, and then I'll tell you also which ones I decided not to pull that will be parted out for BrickLink. So let's get started. I actually wrote out my entire process from start to end, so if you see me referencing that kind of off to the side here, I want to make sure I don't forget anything. So first I'd like to say this is really just my process. When I'm getting a bulk lot, I actually want to try and get sets out of. If it's just a general bulk lot that I am using strictly for BrickLink resale, it's a slightly different process. A lot of the same stuff goes into it, but much less complicated than what I do for a bulk lot that I actually want to get sets out of. So for these lots, which I kind of call time capsule bulk lots, these are lots that probably only came before the color change in 2004, so there are very limited colors in these bulk lots. Once you start getting bulk lots that are after the color change, especially to anything more recent, there are just too many colors to make it worth it. Sets also have so many more pieces nowadays than they used to, so again, it's much too time consuming in most cases to make it worth parting sets back together, which is honestly unfortunate. So this is how I treat bulk lots I find that only contain sets before 2004, which is getting harder and harder to find anyways, so I don't know how much longer I'll be doing this particular method. The lot I just got in was around 22 pounds, which seems like a pretty sizable lot, but because it contained a lot of duplo, a significant portion of the weight was offset by removing all of the duplo pieces. So that kind of brings me to my first point. Usually I dump the full lot out to make content with anyways, so while it's still laying out on the table, I'll try and go through and pull out anything that's non-Lego first. There's almost always either like trash or batteries or random toys mixed in these bulk lots. The first thing to do is try and pull out anything that's non-Lego. For this lot in particular, I also pulled out everything Duplo I could find. At the same time, I also like to try and pull out any minifigure parts I can find, any patterned or stickered pieces, and any super tiny pieces that I think might go missing, like the original little flower pieces, gold coins, anything of that nature where it's so small that it might slip through the washing process and get lost. So I try and pull that kind of stuff out first. It's a really general, quick kind of sort through. Also want to be on the lookout for anything that might contain batteries, because definitely pre-2004, there were a lot of battery operated sets. Light and sound sets. We've got stuff like insectoids. Rock Raiders even had a set that had a light piece in it. So I'm always trying to be careful that I don't accidentally destroy a piece that could potentially be battery operated. So those are the things I try to pull out first. So after I did all of that, the size of the lot was so much smaller and easier to work with then. I washed it in about 3 sections. Only took 1 day to wash the entire lot. So I just have this bucket that I like to use for washing Lego. Actually, my brother got this from someone on Facebook Marketplace. This was full of Lego, and I kind of commandeered this bucket and never gave it back. It actually says Legos on it because the previous owner had labeled it. Don't worry, I know not to put the S on it. I don't fill this up to the top, obviously. I usually fill it probably no higher than this line, and I did that 3 times to wash the remainder of this lot. Just filling it up with some warm water and some dish soap. I get a lot of questions on like washing machines and dishwashers. I just feel like that's an accident waiting to happen. A piece slips through the mesh bag, or, you know, something goes wrong, or it just damages your bricks because a lot of times there's heat. I don't know. I've never tried it. I'm not willing to try it. This method works really easily and is super fast. So I'm just gonna stick to what's been working for me. So once I've let it sit, I usually just let that depend on how dirty they seem. This last lot really wasn't dirty at all. I've had the worst of the worst, and I've had nearly spotless, so I've seen a little bit of everything. Some truly horrifying stuff, honestly, as far as just actual filth. But you can't always tell that from the photos. So an hour or two I let them soak usually. And then I just take a strainer. Sometimes I will add a second one underneath just to try and be sure nothing will get through the little holes and things. And then I just lay them out on towels. And if I'm in a hurry, like I was with this last lot, I put a big fan in front of them to try and speed up the drying process. If not, I usually let them sit out for a day or two to dry, definitely overnight. And every couple of hours I'll kind of sift through because you know bricks are holding water. They're not all flipped over, so kind of run my fingers through them to try and make sure I get them as dry as possible. Because the last thing you want to do is put them into a plastic bag and there be moisture trapped, because that can just lead to all kinds of bad things. So you really want to make sure they're good and dry. Recently I had made a short form video where I talked about how I sort Lego, and it was a little joke that the easiest way for me to sort Lego is to actually just have my mom do it. And of course, that is a joke. But she does on occasion help me sort. Just depends on what it is. Usually I only have her help me sort when it's a lot that I actually want to pull sets for. So while she's watching TV or something, I can have her sorting some while I'm also sorting some. Just depends on what it is. But on a regular routine basis, I promise I'm not having her sort my Lego for me. But while I am sorting the lots, I sort by all the main colors where there's a decent number of parts. So usually in a lot like this, there's probably not a lot of green pieces, so they don't necessarily need to go in their own little bucket. Translucent pieces, they're gonna be, you know, not a ton of those, so again, I could probably throw those in with the green pieces. I like these shoe boxes. You might need something slightly larger depending on the size of the lot, but like red, white, black, blue, yellow, they each get their own bin, light gray, and then all of the remaining colors that you probably just see a handful of will get thrown in a miscellaneous bucket. For this last lot, this is probably the fastest I ever went through a lot. I recorded going through it, washed, dried, and had it sorted all in the same day. So that was unprecedented, but it was amazing to get it all done that quickly because I was really excited then the next day to start pulling sets from that lot. People will ask me how I know what sets are in the lots, and you don't always know. I'm sure I've missed things, especially for small sets. I'm sure there have been sets I've missed over time just because they didn't really have any standout specialty pieces or minifigures, but that's the reason I pull out all of the patterned and sticker pieces, is that those are the easiest way to identify sets. I lucked out with this last lot that there were also some instruction manuals, so that definitely helps. 99% of the time, bulk lots don't come with instruction manuals, so it's kind of a I spy guessing game, search and hope for the best. So once all of that is done, I kind of start making a list of sets that I think are in there, and I pull them usually by largest set first, unless it's by most wanted set. Because there's a good chance that some pieces will go to multiple sets. So if it's a set I want most, I want the most possibilities of pieces in good condition and to be able to complete it the most easily. So I usually pull those sets first, which usually ends up being the largest sets in the lot. And once I've decided I want to pull a set, I go through and part together the minifigures first, because sometimes if I find that there aren't enough of the minifigure pieces, it's not going to be worth trying to part the set together if those are the majority of the value. I've definitely had that in the past where I wanted a set, I knew it was in there, but then the majority of the minifigure pieces weren't in the lot, and so it wasn't worth the money to have to replace those. So it would have been a waste of my time to pull the entire set just to find out that I don't have enough of the minifigures to make it worth completing. So minifigures first, then I go through and pull all of these stickered and patterned pieces, because again, if it's like a super rare sticker or patterned piece that I don't want to pay for and I find out it's not in there, I don't want to waste my time again. And then if both of those check off, then I will go and pull the entire set. So I just go by BrickLink inventory. I do it by color, which always means starting with black first, which is the hardest color usually because there are the most pieces in bulk lots in the color black. For the most part, this is the extent of sorting that I do, just putting all of one color in the same bucket. For light gray and black, occasionally I will do some secondary sorting. So I might pull out all of just the plain black pieces pieces that are just regular building bricks and all of the plates. And then anything that might be like super chunky. I don't think I have any super good examples in here, but like I would just pull out all of the large pieces that are going to get in the way when you're trying to like dig through the lot. But again, I really only do that for black and probably light gray, unless I have another color that just seems to have a ton of pieces, then I might do it for that one as well. So while I'm pulling the pieces, I will also check my own personal inventory if I can't find the piece in the bulk lot. I've kept the remnants of most of these vintage bulk lots in my personal stuff, so that's definitely been helpful over the years to keep that stuff. I've helped complete sets many times by doing that, and then if I can't find it within my own stuff or the bulk lot, then I'll create a wanted list for it. So I have dozens of wanted lists at this point, just using the set number as the name of it, and then I'll just go in and add as I'm missing pieces to the wanted list. I wish you could say I want to buy from 2 wanted lists at the same time. That's the only thing that I'm not super happy with, unless I've missed a way to do that on BrickLink, which by all means, if I have, please let me know. Otherwise, sometimes I will use the note sections for the pieces, and I'll put the set number there, and then I'll combine the wanted list together so I can try and do the little buy all on BrickLink and try and get, you know, as many matches from one store as possible. But that is about the process I go through with a bulk lot like this. I don't get a ton of these anymore. They're so hard to get now. So I'm probably only doing this about 2 or 3 times a year on a good year. Usually I'm just getting a bulk lot. I'll wash it in sections, go through it, kind of cherry pick the good pieces to sell on BrickLink, and then offload everything else at like a Bricks and Minifigs or something like that to try and make a little bit of money off of the leftovers. But sometimes I'll donate some of it. Just depends on what it is. But that's a much easier process if I'm not trying to pull sets out of it. So I think there are 10 sets from this last bulk lot that I plan to keep and part together. Only one of them was 100% complete. The rest of them will take some level of completing, the most of which is just like accessories and some minifigure pieces. Mostly though like shields, lances, swords, spears, that kind of thing. Bows and arrows, quivers. A lot of the accessories were missing, which is to be expected. So the first one, which actually this one is only missing the torso, I remember that. The Celestial Forager, set 6896. It actually had the torso in there, but it was completely cracked from hip to arm, so I'm gonna replace that, but only one piece there. Then we had 6066, the Camouflaged Outpost from 1987. That one's gonna take a little while to complete. It was missing a couple feather plumes, although it had the black feather plume and one of the blue ones. I do need one more of the blue ones. I know that's gonna be pricey to get. I think I need a yellow one, and then I do need the red ones. And I know the red ones are easy to get, and maybe this is just me personally, but you can tell a difference between the remake and the original, so I'm going to try and get the original ones because the remake ones look different to me, and since this is a vintage set, I do want to try and make it authentically complete. I'm really excited though to complete that one eventually. That'll definitely be a 2025 goal. Then we have 6276 Eldorado Fortress. That one was really just missing the flags. I think like a gold coin and maybe a musket. It was not a lot, so definitely happy about that. 6274, the Caribbean Clipper. That one was also missing the flags, so I'm gonna have to get, I think, 2 of the large cross cannon flags and 2 of the small ones. I've already ordered, I think, 2 of the small ones and 1 of the large ones. I'll be interested to see what shape those come in though. I haven't done a lot of ordering yet, but I wanted to go ahead and get started so that way I can space it out over time. Next up we have the King's Castle 6080 from 1984. I think that one's mostly just missing torsos. Most of the torsos for that set, like all of the gold was gone from. And I try not to be too picky with vintage sets, but like the pieces don't have to be in perfect condition, but the torso is one thing that I really like to have in good shape. So this one will probably take a while to complete as well, because I think I need like 4 of the Crusader torsos and maybe 2 of the like Lion Knight torsos, but we will get to that eventually. I'm really excited for that one. I do think I also need a base plate. I had the 2 rare ones, but I think I'm missing the 16 by 32 green one for that one. Then we have 6850. I feel like I'm going to say this wrong. From 1989. That was the only set that was complete. I'll probably end up reviewing that one on my members only channel because I like to keep the tiny sets for that. Then we have 6972, the Polaris Space Lab. I have already ordered the parts to complete that one. That one was pretty easy to complete. That one's from 1987. I don't know if I said that. The only thing is, eventually I would like to replace the moon crater base plate. This one's got a lot of stress marks on it, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. Just be excited to have it, and I'll replace that eventually. Then we have set 6368 Jet Airliner from 1985. That one was only missing a couple pieces, and I've already ordered those as well, so that one will be done soon. I might also hold that one for the members channel since it's only 120 pieces, but we'll see. 6073. I don't think that was one that I knew initially was in there, but I am really excited for that one. And that is the Knight's Castle from 1984. To get 2 castles from this lot is amazing. Again, I think that one was mostly just missing some accessories. There were several helmets in the slot that were broken or like very badly chewed, so I think I do need both of the helmets that have the chin strap on them, and then I think both of the ones with the slotted visor. So, oh, and then I do need the black triple feather plume. I had the tiniest one and the like medium one, but that one was missing and I need it for this set. But that was a really exciting surprise because I did not know that was in there, and the instruction manual wasn't in there. So I can't wait to have 2 new castles in my collection from the 80s. Okay, I think the final one was 6929. Oh, no. I put that one on the wrong list. 6929 is in there, but I'm not going to complete it. So there are 9 sets that were in there, and then 5 that I know of that I'm not completing. So that's one of them, 6929. A lot of these very early 80 sets were super damaged. I threw out quite a few parts that, I mean, were actually just like broken in half. It's so weird because some pieces were in absolute pristine condition and others, I'm like, did the child who owned this still have teeth? Because they were so chewed. Maybe they had pets, I don't know. This set only had 1 minifigure, but the minifigure wasn't in good shape. So between damaged pieces and the minifigure not being in good shape, I just thought it was not worth it. I would probably spend the same amount trying to complete it as I would if I just bought it outright. 6030 was another one in there that I'm not going to pull. That was Catapult. The shield was broken. The weapons were missing, and I decided to use the torsos in the Knight's Castle instead of this set. Really, the main identifier is the little black bucket. This is the only set that contained that little black bucket. Would I like to have this set? Obviously, but again, I could just buy it probably cheaper than it would be to part it together. 6035 was in there. Castle Guard. I already have that set, and again, I used the pieces for it in the Knight's Castle, or the minifigure pieces, I should say. What was actually available. Basically, the only piece left from this set is the little red canopy. Everything else was used in other sets, so. 6270, Forbidden Island. I already own this set and have an extra one of this set. The pirate flag was broken. I really only had Captain Redbeard and maybe a partial of one of the other pirates. So I'm just going to part it out. Hopefully use that money to buy pieces to complete the rest of these sets. It is a great set though. And then finally, the All-Terrain Space Vehicle 6927 from 1981. Again, that one was not in good shape. The minifigures were not in good shape, if they were even in there. A couple of the pieces were in good shape, but you know, like the moons and stuff are all gone. And for me, when the prints are super damaged or the moons are missing gold, I have to replace them. I can't stand for them to look like that, so I know myself, I would just end up spending way more on them to try and complete them when I could just buy it if I really wanted it that bad. And again, all of these sets that I decided not to complete, I can use those pieces, upload them to BrickLink. Someone will want them eventually, and then hopefully I can use some of that money to recoup what I paid for this lot and to buy more pieces to complete the sets I truly want. So I've now rambled for a very long time. I hope you all found some level of this interesting. I get so many questions on the topic of sorting and washing bulk lots, and you know, a lot of people ask for another follow-up on this past lot to see what I got from it. In the past, I have not usually released that. Usually just left it as kind of a surprise along the way, but you know, I don't know how many people will have made it to the end of the video, so maybe it will be a surprise to a lot of people still. But I hope at least one person finds some level of this useful in their own personal Lego life. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like and subscribe. And if you're interested in extra videos and content, check out the membership program starting at only 99 cents a month. There are already over 60 episodes available. See you all next time.